Come on in, sit back and relax. You're listening to episode 266 of the WealthTech Today podcast. I'm your host, Craig Iskowitz, founder of Ezra Group Consulting. This podcast features news, interviews, and analysis on the trends and best practices all around wealth management technology. My guest for this episode was Ashley M. Fox, CEO of Empify. Now, Ashley launched Empify over 7 years ago. She's also a public speaker and was previously a contributing writer for Forbes, as well as Black Enterprise magazine. And she started her career off as a private banking analyst at JP Morgan. Ashley and I had a terrific conversation, and when you listen to it, you will learn the answers to the following questions. First, what is Empify? 2, what drove her to start it? 3, what are some of the strategies she is using for improving financial literacy? Now, but before we begin, let me do a couple of quick housekeeping tasks. First, please subscribe to the show wherever you listen to podcasts so you don't miss an episode. And please check out our sponsors, the Invest in Others Charitable Foundation, and you can find them at investinothers.org. Right, let's kick this thing off. Here we go. I'm introducing our guest for this episode. It is founder and CEO of Empify, Ashley M. Fox. Ashley, thanks for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Ashley, where are you calling in from?
I am based in Atlanta, Georgia, from Philly, but live in Atlanta, Georgia.
Love it. I'm from Philly. I'm from Philadelphia suburbs, which in my case is New Jersey. You still an Eagles fan?
I am, yes, and I still have a 215 number. Yes.
Nice. Thank God. I'm a big Eagles fan, everyone knows. But I've been doing a lot of traveling. I've seen 3 games this year so far, 2 away games and 1 home game.
Oh, wow. Nice.
That game against the Falcons sucked.
Yes, it did.
What are you gonna do? All right, so we can talk football on another podcast. Ashley, give us the 30-second elevator pitch for Empify.
So Empify is the merging of the words empower and modify put together. And we're a fintech startup that is revolutionizing how adults and children learn how to build wealth. And we do that through creating financial education programs, tools, and resources, putting them in school systems, prison systems. We have our membership-based app called the Wealth Builders Community, which I like to call like the Netflix of finance, where thousands of people in over 22 different countries get access to the financial tools and resources that they forgot to give us in the school system and the things we don't talk about at the dinner table. And so we essentially created a platform and a resource for the 99% that Wall Street often overlooks, helping them take what they have and become the wealth builder that they deserve to be.
That is awesome. Financial literacy is a big issue for me. Just having 3 daughters who went through public schools, they had approximately 1 semester of financial literacy in high school.
Mm-hmm.
And as we all know, who have kids don't learn anything in 1 semester. That's in there 1 year, out the other, and gone.
Right.
So having tools like Empify, I think, can be tremendously beneficial because kids don't know anything. They don't know what a credit card is. They don't know what an auto loan is. They don't know what interest rates are.
Mm-hmm.
So let's roll back a little bit. So what experience did you have in the financial services industry, and what made you decide to quit and launch Empify?
So I went to Howard University, majored in finance, and I actually always wanted to work on Wall Street. I actually always wanted to make a lot of money and wear nice clothes. So that's why I majored in finance. And I realized that I wanted to work in New York City. So at Howard, I had 4 internships, 3 of them at Wall Street investment banks. And I realized that that's where I wanted to be. So I graduated in 2010, landed my dream job working for a large investment bank in New York City in asset management. So my role was essentially to help manage the money for millionaires and billionaires. So we work with the ultra high net worth individuals. And every day I saw where they invested, where they shopped, where they traveled, how they invested for their kids and saved and things like that. And I got to a space where I felt like for something we're using every single day of our life, why is it not taught in our school system? You shouldn't have to major in finance, work on Wall Street to really get exposed to this information. And when I went home to Philly, people thought I had a lot of money. So granted, I was a very low paid, and I was making 6 figures in my 20s. But when you're around millionaires and billionaires and you realize like, hey, I want to be on the other end of the table, but I wanted to be able to bridge that gap between the everyday person and the Wall Street client that I work with. And so in 2013, I bid farewell to my Wall Street career. And I created the word Empify. Now, that was always an idea. It wasn't actually a business. I went on to be a financial advisor. So I had my security licenses. and targeting low to moderate income individuals. And that's where I really learned how to translate Wall Street knowledge and bringing it to the everyday person. In 2017, that's when Empify became an actual business. We launched our programs in school systems. We launched in Philadelphia, actually, where I'm from, where we were in 26 different schools across the city, in public schools, middle schools, and high schools. And we started to grow from there. And as time progressed, when COVID hit, we launched our tech platform, which is a wealth builders community, what we know today. And so we went from being a B2B company to also a B2C, targeting low to moderate income individuals. And not just those. We have some members who are making well over six figures, but they aren't financially educated and they don't have the education to make the thorough decisions that they need to plan for retirement, to invest for their children, and to effectively build wealth, protect it, and preserve it. And essentially, Empify has created a platform that allows the everyday person to get exposed to Wall Street knowledge in an easy and digestible way, but also helping them actually produce the results to get to execute on all the education that they've been blessed with to get on our platform.
I think this is awesome, and it's surely sorely needed. But how do you make this work? People, I found, like, we're in the industry, right? You've got a finance degree. You worked on Wall Street. I've been in the industry for a long time. We live and breathe this stuff. So, but most people don't, and they don't like it. They're afraid of money. It's confusing. It's boring. How do you make this type of education interesting to people who need it, but maybe aren't that interested in it?
I think a lot of it came from my personal experience. And so I was raised in a two-parent home. My parents were middle class. I didn't really get exposed to true wealth until Wall Street, but I started to follow the blueprint. And I truly believe that success leaves clues. We have to follow the blueprint. And while they may have had more money or may have been older or looked different, for me, I felt like success leaves clues. I'm going to follow the blueprint, but wealth also doesn't have a color. Therefore, I feel like it can be any of us. And so in the midst of me creating Empify, I ended up losing everything. So I got evicted from my Harlem apartment. I had maxed out credit cards, negative bank accounts. And I started to really feel like and understand what it meant to not have a lot of money, the shame, the doubt, the fear, the worry. But also at that point in my life, I could not unsee the wealth that Wall Street exposed me to. And so it was easy for me to translate knowledge because I understood the pain, the doubt, the fears, and the, not growing up with a lot of money and being able to create content and education that I could teach to an 8-year-old. I remember going on television, teaching a child how to buy a stock. And once I really learned how to educate a child, to get a child to open a brokerage account, to understand what a stock is, to understand what a dividend is, it was a lot easier for me to educate adults. And so when it comes to my aspect of money, just being the CEO of Empify, I have taught in prison systems. I have taught in public school systems. I've taught 10-year-olds how to buy stock. I have been at points in life where I didn't have money, where I've been evicted, where I've had bad credit, but also know what it takes to create a multi-million-dollar business. And so I have a very holistic view of wealth. And I truly believe that no matter where you are, if you can get a brokerage account and you have a social security number, no matter where you live in the world, if you have at least $20, you can invest in the market. I think things have changed since I was on Wall Street. And I think it's about breaking down those mental barriers, because when you really, really think about it, there is no stock market without our buying power. Some of the biggest and best companies in America are companies we use every single day. What if you can become part owner of them? And when you break it down in a language people can understand, help them do it with you and show them that it's possible, it's easy for them to get it done.
Most people are driven by fears of investing and also have self-doubt of whether they can even do it. Speaking of people being driven by fears, here at Ezra Group, we find a lot of wealth management firms are driven by fears of their tech stack not working. And we see it all the time. Tech stacks are just getting bigger and bigger and becoming more and more expensive to run, but they're just not working as well as they can. So what we have found is the best thing to do is hire Ezra Group to come in and do a tech stack assessment. We will come in, we will take a look at your tech stack. We will give you a top to bottom review of all the strengths and weaknesses. And we'll also do some benchmarking against firms of similar size to show you where you are in the pecking order. Plus, we can give you an executable plan to bring your firm to the next level. So please run, do not walk to our website, ezragroup.com. Click the golden Contact Us button on the homepage and sign up for our free consultation. You will be happy that you did. So you mentioned that they can buy stock with $20, which is great. But do you have any, what kind of tools or educational format are you using to create an opportunistic mindset in your participants in your community?
Through our education, I say a lot of our education is gamified. And there are also incentives for you to get it done. So when it comes to opening your brokerage account, getting that done fast, showing you that, hey, most people think you need a lot of money. You have to have, you have to look a certain way, or you have to be rich to invest. And it's like, hey, let's open a brokerage account. Let's look at some of the cost of some of the stocks and companies, and people realize like, oh, it's not as hard as I think it is. And so within our app, we have 4 and 5, 6-week boot camps that we call, where you can spend about 3 hours a week going through self-paced education, where we have live Q&As, we have member connection sessions, we have in-person events, we have our annual conference, where now not only are you learning how to build wealth, you're surrounded by people who have the same fears, who have the same doubts, but who've also started to accomplish the things that you want to accomplish. So I think when you put people in a community-like environment, when you give them easily digestible education, you break down hey, you don't need a lot of time. You don't need a lot of money. You don't have to be rich, but you do have to create a destination. And so we really enforce and push people to dream again and help them get driven by the progress, not the results. And when you put thousands of people in one platform, and we're having stock parties. I remember one recently, not too long ago, when Amazon stock split, our members invested over $200,000 in a day. And these are people who were afraid to buy their first stock. And so we don't judge you by the amount. We don't tell you what you need to buy. We're just encouraging you to actually get it done. And Empify is by your side, cheering you on, but also the people in our community are doing it with you.
That is terrific. So boot camps, 3 hours per week, gamified. What is the gamification? Are there badges or scores or?
So we have all of it. The badges, the scores, the wealth builder of the month. We have gifts when you graduate. We send you certificates. We have all type of customized things that people get, because I think the one thing that we are afraid to do is build wealth. We think we're behind. We think we're too old, and we're here to celebrate you. When was the last time you were celebrated for breaking generational curses in your family? And so when you incentivize them that way, they want the success, they want the prize, they want to feel like they belong. It really pushes people to get results. And that's how we've had our members be able to invest $6.4 million in less than 2 years, because we've been able to push them through that and get them through the boot camps and get them to produce the results. And results aren't always, hey, I bought a stock and I made money. Sometimes the result is getting your first dividend, reaching your first $1,000 a month in income from the dividends that you invest on, or learning what a REIT is, or buying a stock and opening a custodial account for your kids. So every small milestone is a win at Empify. Next thing you know, a year goes by and we have members that have portfolios over $50,000, but we're afraid to buy their first stock and never had a brokerage account. And so we celebrate the small wins consistently and abundantly.
Where are these accounts open? Do you partner with from like Robinhood, or are you all your own broker dealer where you open the accounts on your platform?
So we are not a broker dealer. So when we think about partnerships, so Empify partners with Fortune 500 companies to help their employees invest to help their employees learn how to invest and build wealth. We partner with organizations when it comes to having in-person events or programs sponsored for our events. When we think about, so there is no one loyalty to no company, because we don't want people to feel like, hey, Empify said this, so we have to do this. And so typically I would say our members are utilizing platforms that were around when I was on Wall Street. So your E-Trades, your Charles Schwabs, your Fidelities, your Vanguards, the companies that I was exposed to on Wall Street, but a lot of them use some of the new platforms. So we don't discourage people from any particular company or platform. We just have them focus on here, the features you want to look for. This is the feasibility you want to have, and we allow people to do that. But in the past, we have partnered with financial institutions, not specifically for, hey, you open their account, because again, there's no one loyalty, but we have partnered with a lot of financial institutions where their financial advisors will come and talk to our members, where they're experts. We've had CEOs of publicly traded companies come in and talk to our members. So our job is essentially to break down the language of money and make it something fluent that our members learn how to communicate with and with one another, as well as their families. And then financial institutions come and partner with us because they are interested in economic development. They are interested in saying, hey, how can we utilize our ETFs or our REITs or our companies and get them exposed to the audience that you've now educated?
So when someone in your community is using, in the Empify community is
Hmm.
using the app, and
Hmm.
then they're going to open an account, are they opening it through Empify, or are they switching over to
No,
Vanguard's
they would,
website?
yeah, they would switch over and
Mm,
work with whatever financial institution that they choose to work with. But a
right.
lot of financial institutions come in and talk to our members about their products, about their
Mm,
services. And then our members are able to choose what works best for them. But we expose them to the information, to the companies, to the people so
mm.
that they feel safe and confident to be able to move forward with these organizations.
So if they're moving away from the app to do their investing, how do you know how much they're investing?
So great question. So what happens is we have what we call now Race to 10 million. And our members, if they want to be a part of our community driven goal, there are forms and things that they have to fill out that document what they've invested, and they have to show proof
Mm,
of what it is that they process and what company that they use
mm,
prior to them fully submitting the form. And so they opt in to do it, but they're manually submitting, this is what I did, this is the company that I work with, and we require them to provide actual visuals of what it is they bought, when they bought it, and the companies that they use. And we in our team,
mm.
we have a really robust team that tracks all of that information. And so literally in the past 2 years, we've opened over 3,000 brokerage accounts and have invested over $6 million. And that has been what we've collected from our members when they have chose to tell us, hey, this is what I invested in. These are the companies that I'm working with based off of what they learn on the Empify platform.
Now you're teaching long-term investing. You're not teaching them day trading. They're not logging on to Robinhood and buying and selling.
No, so we have boot camps that
Mm,
offer that. I personally do not teach that,
mm.
but some people do ask, and so we bring in experts. We vet our experts, and they come in and they're educating, and our members then choose if this is what they want to invest in. But we have like an ETF boot camp, a mutual fund boot camp, a retirement planning boot camp, an options trading boot camp, dividend investing boot camp. And so based off of the way you can look at our platform is like the Harvard of finance. When they come in, they choose what major they want to have and what classes they want to take. All we ask is that you finish what you started. So we monitor their progress, we push them through their progress, and allow them to matriculate through the education.
So you're both the Netflix of finance and the Harvard of finance.
Yes, that's how. Those are the best ways that I could think of it, as well as our members. Yes.
That's tough to be both.
Oh,
I'm
I know.
impressed.
I'm figuring it out every single day.
I like it. Let's talk about technology. What's the underlying technology behind Empify?
So right now, our membership-based platform, we utilize Mighty Networks. I would say as we continue to evolve and really grow our membership base, we're on track to do over 10,000 members within the next year. We are going to have to build proprietary technology. Right now, our members are able to be effective. We're able to track our data. We also utilize Salesforce as well, and a lot of other tech tools to be able to amplify the experience and to collect the data that we need. But when it comes to more customization and what we're looking to do to really kind of help build the wealth score of individuals, to really push them through the pipeline to get them to achieve what it is they're looking to achieve financially, I would say in the near future, we are going to have to build proprietary technology.
It seems that way, although there's more and more off-the-shelf technology you can get today
Mhm.
that's very customizable to do almost anything you want.
Yes, I'm learning that. Yes, I am learning that.
There you go. So one thing that there's a lot of people listening to this podcast are either financial advisors or working at a wealth management firm. So how can Empify help the clients of financial advisors?
Mhm. So essentially, so a lot of financial advisors, CFPs, CFAs, they reach out to us, and also financial institutions as well. The way we look at it is it's understanding what your goal is, the type of customer you're going after. So we have clients that have $25,000 portfolios, and we have clients that have over $250,000 portfolios. And it's understanding what type of client are you looking for, what products and services do you offer, and how are you compensated? Because we always like to inform our members, if this is what you're looking for, these are people that we respect, that we value, and then they are able to go work with those individuals. And so there are key people that we partner with, key organizations that we partner with that provide those tools and resources to the organization. So if you are a wealth manager looking for individuals who may not have that $1 million plus portfolio, but possibly smaller, there are a lot of advisors that we work with that we can refer our members to. If you are essentially like a financial institution, depending on what your your CRA goals are, or what your mission is around the company and what you're doing. We've partnered with financial institutions to be able to fulfill those needs. We've also too, we're in conversations now with retirement companies, right? So if your company issues 401ks, IRAs, and resources for other businesses, our education services a lot of the clients and people that they work with. And so it's really understanding, how are you looking to get access to customers, whether you want them to be educated, where we would come in and bring our technology and our education to get them across the finish line, or if you're looking for individual educated individuals when it comes to financial products and services, we educate our members so that they are ready to have conversations with financial institutions, with wealth advisors, with publicly traded companies, because now there's no longer a fear. There's now, hey, I belong at this table. I want to learn more, but who can help me implement to get across the finish line?
So if I could summarize, you offer two services. One is educational content for
Correct.
advisors' clients,
Mm-hmm.
which could be great for Gen 2, the second
Mm-hmm.
generation, the kids of their current clients who are mostly in their 50s as our advisors. And they don't really have a lot of content for their clients' children. So having
Mm-hmm.
this type of gamified educational content they could offer them would be tremendously beneficial.
And also, too, a lot of what we're seeing, too, so a lot of our members are over 50 years old, and a lot of them are planning for retirement. A lot of them have really big rollovers. And so we partner with a lot of advisors as well, with people who specialize in retirement. So whether it be annuities, variable or fixed, retirement planning, just utilizing the stock market, having assets under management, and just the strategies in place. So we call our 50 and over group the Golden Society. And there's a lot of people who are ready to retire, and they've been working all these years. They just don't know what to do or understand how their retirement accounts work. And so when it comes to annuities, retirement plans, IRAs, and doing different rollovers, we partner with a lot of financial advisors as well to be able to help support individuals looking to get to retirement, or who are also in retirement as well.
So the second service you are offering is a lead gen service.
Yes.
So the many people who are using your platform, you are identifying them as being good candidates to work with a financial advisor, and then you are referring them to your network of advisors.
Yes.
And do you have any stats on how many paying members do you have at the moment?
There are over 3,000 members inside of our platform. And we just recently did a 5-day virtual dividend investing summit. And there were over 3,000 people who paid just for the tickets to come to that event.
That's cool. And how about people who aren't paying? What's the total universe of people you've been interacting with?
As of today, over 1 million individuals, over 1 million. And we've had over 150 partners that we have worked with, where we have brought our education to their organization.
So Ashley, there's some research you shared with me that 57% of the Gen Z demographic prefer using a savings account for investing because they just don't understand how to use a brokerage or any other wealth account. So how do you get them over that hump? How do you educate them to get beyond just a savings account?
One of the things I always say is that you cannot save or work your way to wealth. And when we think about how society is designed, you're taught to go to school, get a job, and then you get a job to pay for school, and then you sometimes buy a house. But why is it that we feel like we're working so hard, we save money, we buy a house, but we don't have the financial ease and security? So how can we work smarter, and how can we give our money a job? We work for the money, but how do we give our money a job? And just having it sitting in a savings account doesn't give us the ability to be financially free, to be financially secure. And so I ask people, what is one thing that you have mastered, right? You have mastered the art of spending. Well, have you ever wondered who makes money as a result of you spending? So we go through an exercise where you write down all the places you give your time, your money, and your energy to. And then we go through, well, how many of those companies are publicly traded? Well, how much money did they make every single year? How much are they paying out in dividends? Just dividends alone, companies are paying out $1.66 trillion of just extra cash flow from the profit. But in order to have a profit, you had to be their customer. What if you can be part owner of the companies you are loyal to? And let's explore that. And really just opening their eyes to now, okay, you made the list of the companies. Let's talk about researching the companies. Let's look at how much it costs to own a piece of these companies. And for something that we think is so hard, most stocks are less than $200-300. Let's then think about how much have you spent at that company, and start really considering, how can you invest and spend money? How can you save and invest? So I always tell people, it's not this or that. It is this and that.
I was just watching on Instagram. There was a clip from Tony Robbins, and
Hmm.
he got into finance a couple of years ago and wrote a book with an advisor, and now he's a super expert on finance all of a sudden. But he threw out a statistic where if you had started buying iPhones in with the 2007 release, and you bought every version from then until now, you'd have spent over $20,000 just on buying iPhones. If you took that money in 2007 and bought Apple stock, it'd be worth $20 million now.
Hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a great example.
Yeah. So buying things you're using anyway
Hmm.
is
Their
you're
net worth
basically
is
supporting
growing
yourself.
because of you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hmm.
So I want to circle back to schools before we finish up. So how can we get this education more into schools, and um, how do you see you doing that? How do you see expanding the number of schools you're working with?
So in the beginning, one of the biggest things when I started Empify, I didn't know the how, I just knew the why, and I knew I was going to be the woman to get it done. And I started out teaching for free to really learn the education system, because while I want the world to have financial education, schools only want you to have good test scores. And so how is it we can build an education that directly impacts the bottom line of a school? So we incorporated things like the Common Core in our education, so that while students might be learning in sixth grade with percentages, how do we incorporate that in our education? So then it became a need, not just an option for schools. As we really start to think about expanding Empify into more and more schools across the world, it's really about building that proprietary technology, expanding our technology in a space where schools are able to license our education, where we are able to come in and educate their teachers. But not only that, how can we get Empify in the homes of the parents and the children that we want to work with? And so we have our parent investing bootcamp inside of our app, where we have resources for parents, we have resources for their children. But the biggest way to thoroughly scale is we have to expand our technology, we have to expand the data that we're collecting, and we have to show schools that this isn't something that is an option, it's a standard. And how can we effectively grow a child mentally, energetically, financially, but also scholastically, and helping them with the test scores? And that's been the easiest way for us to get into school systems, for us to get into prison systems, and to really impact the lives of children. And we start at sixth grade with our programs.
That is fantastic. And your program, what's the cost of this program for the average person who wants to sign up?
The Wealth Builders community, our annual membership is $500 a year or $50 a month.
And if I was a financial advisor, I could buy memberships for my clients' kids. I'm sure you get some
Yes.
discounts.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
from
So
buying in bulk.
yes, we do have custom pricing around having membership in bulk. So for example, we partnered with the mayor of Atlantic City, and the city of Atlantic City pay for a bunch of residents in Atlantic City to go through our education inside the platform. And after the program and our time together was over, more than half of those residents got a discounted membership that they paid individually on their own. And a lot of them are still with us today. So when it comes to our partners, whether it's a school, an organization, a financial advisor, it's really about us understanding what are your goals, what are you looking to accomplish, and how can we get you to achieve that goal even faster.
Out of all the cities in the country, I think Atlantic City is probably the one that
I
has the
know.
most financial literacy.
They reached out to us
Good
too.
place to
Yes.
start. Right. Ashley, been very informative. I really appreciate you being here. Where can our listeners find more information about Empify?
So you can go to empify.com. It is empify.com. We are on all social platforms. And for me, I'm also on social media as well. You can find me _Ashley M. Fox on Instagram, LinkedIn, Ashley M. Fox, all across social media.
Ashley, thanks so much for being here. It was great to meet you.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Hey, it's Craig again. Here are my top 3 takeaways from this episode. 1, the technology and educational approach of Empify, including the gamification, boot camps, and community building aspects, are really cool. 2, Empify can help financial advisors and wealth management firms, both through educational content for their clients and as a lead gen service. And 3, Empify's efforts to expand financial literacy education into schools and other major institutions is commendable. And congratulations, you've reached the end of another episode of the WealthTech Today podcast. Thanks for listening. But before you go, head to our website, EzraGroup.com. Scroll to the bottom of the homepage and sign up for our newsletter. Once a month, you'll receive an email chock full of wealth management goodness, news, information, and updates. You will not be disappointed. Thanks again for listening, and talk to you all again next time.